You won't believe what's happening to Nathan Kerish. Nathan Kerish is now the second richest man in Africa, not after years of slow growth or just launching something new. Just because the one massive deal that completely or instantly changed everything. And here is the wildest part of this story. That one move that pushed Abdul Samad and John Rupert down the rankings. And the real question here could be, how does one deal can completely shuffle the billionaires ranking overnight? And what does this really tell us about how wealth actually works? So let's break it down for you. So welcome to Billionaires Africa. This is Mariam Keza, and I want you to take a time and think of this for a second. What if I tell you that a person could become the second richest man in Africa not by building something new, by simply because the world have finally noticed how valuable what they have built was? And that's exactly what's happening to Nathan Kerish. So trust me, this story is very deeper than you think. So here is what's happening. Cisco agreed to buy Jetro restaurant depot in a deal worth about $29.1 billion. And yes, that's a billion. And I want you to pause for a second and think about this. Nathan Kerish owns a large stake in that business. So the moment this deal was announced, his fortune didn't just increase, it jumped. Not just a small jump. A big jump enough to make him the second richest man in Africa. And that is very huge. Because normally when we talk about Africa's richest man, we always hear the same name. It's always Dangote, Rupert, Rabiu, and Motsepe. But Kerish, that is very new. He's been building his wealth very quietly until now. And now, before we even go further, let's step a bit back to even understand who is Nathan Kerish. Nathan Kerish is a South African-born businessman who built his fortune in a wholesale food distribution. He started early, first around his family's mart business before moving into his own venture. In late 1950s, he set up a corn milling and a mart business in Eswatini. But the real turning point came in 1970s, when he bought a wholesale distribution in South Africa that used a cash and a carry model. And this is where it gets really interesting. Instead of delivering goods, he sold products in bulk to small shop owners who paid upfront and collected goods themselves. And that's a very simple model on a low cost, fast-moving inventory, and he scaled it. Then in 1976, he took that same idea into the United States, opening a warehouse-style operation in Brooklyn under a Jetro name. So the concept here was very straightforward. Independent restaurant and a small retailer could buy in a bulk at a lower prices without relying on deliveries. Later in 1994, he acquired Restaurant Depot and combined it with Jetro under Jetro Holdings. And this has built a nationwide network supplying food and restaurant goods across the US. And that US platform became the real engine of his wealth. No flashy, not loud, just incredibly powerful. And for a long time, mostly invisible to the public. And now, here is where all the dots connect. And I want you to think about this. Have you ever seen something very valuable, but nobody knows how valuable it is? That's exactly what's happening to Nathan Kerish. He didn't just suddenly get rich. He had his wealth for a while. He had the difference. And his company was very private. No daily stocks price, no public valuation, no constant attention. So his wealth was basically invisible to the public. Until one moment changed everything. One buyer came in and put a number on it, and just like that, boom, the invisible wealth became a visible wealth. And now let's talk about why this one matters so much. Because it wasn't just a hype, it wasn't speculation, and it wasn't a trending stocks. It was just a sell, and sales are very powerful because they create something real, a real number, a real value, sometimes even real cash. So instead of asking questions like how rich Nathan Kerish is, because already the world knows he's rich. So that's why this moment hit so hard. This didn't just make him richer, it made his wealth undeniable. Now you might be wondering, did Rupert and Rabiu lose their money? Not really. That's why this part is very important. So they didn't drop because they have failed. They dropped because someone jumped higher than they expected. Their wealth is mostly tied to public markets. Public markets move gradually. It's always like the stock goes up and down, step by step, but Nathan Kerish, he didn't move in steps. He moved in a leap, and a leap changed the entire ranking. So here is the biggest takeaway, and I want you to really pay attention on this, because paper wealth could look very impressive. Stock goes up, net worth goes up, but it can just disappear as fast as it came. But liquid is a little bit different. It is when wealth became real through the followings: a sale, a merger, and a listing. And it's always locked in, and it's always confirmed. So someone is actually paying for it. And that's why it's very powerful. So that's exactly what's happening to Nathan Kerish. So without going too far, let's zoom out a little bit, because this isn't just about one billionaire. A lot of wealth across Africa is still tied up in private businesses, family-owned companies, assets that aren't constantly valued. So here is the real question. How many billionaires which are richer than they appear? And we barely see them. Because it only takes one moment, a deal, a merger, and a listing, and suddenly everything changes. So who you should be looking up next? Look at founders with large private companies, especially in sectors like mining, energy, telecom, logistics, and manufacturing. Because in those spaces, one deal could unlock a massive value over a night. And please don't count out Rabiu either, because the ranking don't only move one way. It moves both ways, slowly and suddenly. So closing off, Nathan Kerish didn't become richer overnight. He's been building his wealth over decades. But Cisco deal revealed it overnight. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you in the next one.